For y'all to say that though, feels like an Elastigirl Space Jam reach. You know what I'm saying? Like, you reaching big, homie. You reaching big. Know your arms tired, cause you reaching. Hiya, and welcome back to another Reading Wednesday. It's your girl, Logan, also going by Sketchbook and Bookbooks. Sketchbooks and Bookbooks. One day I'll say that right, you know, but it's cute. It's cute if you say it right, I think, you know. Anyway, but today I'm going to be filming a August wrap-up. What I read all in August is not that much. Spoiler alert, it is not that much. But yeah, we're going to film that today. And in the back, you're going to hear my cat just chowing down on her breakfast, which is cool. I usually kind of kick her out, I'm not gonna lie, when I film. But usually I'm the one who's filming in the morning and she didn't eat yet. And I'm like, so that's a little trifling. I'm not gonna, you know, that's rude. Usually it's like she's just laying around and I'm like, you can do that out there, you know? But I ain't gonna let my cat starve. Like, I'm a mom first and foremost, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, you're gonna hear that in the back. She's eating out of an egg carton. And I won't go into that, I'll just say that's what she's doing. Anyway, but yeah, so getting into this August wrap up, you already know the deal. I'm gonna just be like, you know, a time lapse is gonna be playing, and usually I like make full-on illustrations and stuff, but I'm just gonna sketch some faces because I haven't done that in a while and I need to. Reference is really good, right? So I haven't drawn from reference in a while and I miss it. It's really important to do that. So I'm just gonna be drawing faces, like, you know, it's not gonna have really anything to do with this video. I'm just gonna be practicing because this month has been, it's not even over, but it's not been the best for me. I don't know why, but it wasn't the best. I'm not feeling it. I was struggling. And I got the crown on again, right? It's pretty much my emotional support crown at this point. Like, I was like, I'm feeling down, but this crown makes me feel better. I don't even know why. Or maybe I do. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Anyway, we're gonna get into the books that I already said were not that much. But hey, you know, I did read some, just not a lot. So here we are, here we go. So the first book I read in August was Dreamland Burning by Jennifer Latham. Latham? I have no idea. But that was the first book I read, and I finished it August 9th. Okay, I gave it 3 stars. It was okay for me. It was a young YA, it's a YA, young adult genre, whatever. And it was historical fiction dealing with the Tuskegee. Maybe I should not be filming this video. I was like, I am not able to speak right now. Oh my goodness, okay. Anyway, but it's dealing with the, I'm blanking on the name of the massacre. Oh my God. Tulsa. The Tulsa massacre. I'm embarrassed and ashamed. Anyway, but yeah, so it dealt with that, and it was a historical fiction dealing with the Tulsa massacre, and it was like split between 2 timelines, like a girl in the present who is mixed, and her name is Rowan Chase. I hate the name Rowan, by the way. I don't like the name Rowan. I don't know why it's a thing. And I'm like, just whatever. That's beside the point. But anyway, she's the main character in like the present, and she lives in this town, you know, outside of Tulsa, like near Tulsa, whatever. And in the past, it's like you follow this white boy named Will Tillman, and you like follow him through like kind of the events of the Tulsa massacre and him trying to save some of his friends and stuff, which is really nice. It was a really good. Was it? I mean, it was a good idea, I think, you know, and it's not like you see a lot of YA books dealing with the Tulsa massacre, or really like, I feel like there's not as many books about it as there should be, but at the same time I say that, and you know, I don't know if I'd ever be able to really read a nonfiction book about the Tulsa massacre. I don't think I'm strong enough for it, like mentally or anything. And that's a very uncomfortable laugh. Like, that's not a laugh. I don't think I'm strong enough for that. I don't know if I'll ever be, but it's just such a heartbreaking event, and so just disgusting in it too. It's really awful. So I don't know if I'd ever be able to just sit through like all the facts. And I don't care that there were survivors. Just so many people died for no good reason. You know, racism is not a good reason. It's just really sad. So I don't know if I'd ever be able to read like a serious fiction, like factual book about it. I don't think I would. And even when there were articles going around, I didn't read it then either, because I just feel like I would not be able to handle that. But I was able to handle Dreamland Burning. I didn't really like it all that much. It was okay for me, and it also, like, I think I hit the halfway point in the book, and was just like, I don't know, like I kind of just took a long break from it. I wasn't eager to continue, and then I just had to push through to the end after that, which is kind of sucky. Like, you know what, it's like I lost all my momentum. It was really weird. And I think that's also because, like, I thought the author of this book was like a black woman. She's a white woman, I think, but like she's written about two like POC characters, like I think, like, you know, who were main characters too, like as them. And I was like, that's interesting. It is. But in Dreamland Burning, like the thing that made me uncomfortable for 1 second was there was like a baby daddy joke, like a black baby daddy joke. And I was like, I don't know how I feel, Jennifer. I was like, Jennifer, I don't know about this. Like legit, I was like, I'm a little uncomfortable that we made this joke, but okay. Okay, I ended up giving it like 3 stars, and I'll just read the review I gave, since I don't have a lot of books to talk about in this video anyway. So I'm really torn on this one. I enjoyed the story, but found it a little harder to get through once I learned the author was white. LOL. That being said, I appreciated her note on why she included slurs, and do believe she actually toned it down, because like slurs were used, but like, yeah, definitely not as many as there would have been, like, you know, historically accurate, like accuracy rise. I know they were throwing those slurs out there, you know. But she also was really good at writing like this dude who's a member of the KKK. And it was scary. It was scary. She was really good at that. I was like, dang, this dude he is scary, Lord. But anyway, she was really good at that. The villain was really great. But anyway, however, she never resolved Rowan's story with Armin's, well, that's a spoiler. This is a spoiler. But, I mean, anyway, so, however, she never resolved Rowan's story with Arvin's death, and that just seems really odd to me, since we got William's resolution, but, like, not hers. And I also did predict whose body was found, but I enjoyed how the events unfolded leading up to the reveal. And I also appreciate a YA story dealing with the Tulsa Massacre, because before this year I only vaguely knew of it. I still don't know if I have the stomach to research it, or if the knowledge of such horror and depravity would benefit me at all. And I don't think it would. I really don't. We are living in the age of like Karens and like racism. Racism ain't slowing down, baby. You know, you ain't never gonna have to like, oh, just like, I wish you wouldn't have to deal with racism, but nah, it ain't slowing down. It ain't slowing down. So I'm like, if I knew about it, how is that gonna benefit me at all? Like, I don't think it would. I don't think that would. I'm just like, that would not make my life better in any way. But moving on from that, so that was my first book of August, right? Dreamland Burning. And then the second book I read was Riot Baby, which I actually still have. I turned in Dreamland Burning, but Riot Baby, which is a short little book, and I knew that I could finish it if I just started it. But I like checked this out and then like didn't read it for like at least a week. And I'm like, that's simple, because you see how tiny this is. It's less than 200 pages. Actually, wait. No. How many pages is this? Because that was a Kindle edition. I'm sorry. I like to be accurate about this. Okay, it's still 176. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, so less than 200 pages. And it's the second book I've read by this author, Tochi Onyebuchi, and I'm kind of flirting with the idea of saying he's my favorite author, one of my favorite authors. And I just really respect him because he's a dude who can write female characters realistically. So sad that that's actually like a point of value. Because for me, it's like, if you're a writer, you should be able to write anything. But you can't write half the population, dog. Like, I'm looking at you, Stephen King. I'm looking at you. I know there's others, but like, dude, I don't read them enough to know. But I know there's others. There's just so many men who just can't write female characters. Like, we're really aliens. Like, we're really just, we don't have brains, and they don't work exactly the same way. Like, it's just like, but you're a writer, though. But you have the audacity to call yourself a writer and can't write half the population. Cool. Cool. Anyway, thinking of Horikoshi too. I'm like, you ain't safe. You ain't safe. Just because it's manga, you ain't safe at all, Horikoshi. Why do all of the girls in Boku no Hero Academia have no backstories? Why was Mina's backstory part of Kirishima's backstory? That's another rant on its own, but dang, he be messing it up. But Tochi, he don't. Tochi's like, I know how to write girls. You write them like men, with thoughts and ideas and feelings and wants and desires and stuff, like a person. And he does it, and I love it. But anyway, so Riot Baby, I finished this in like 2 days. It was really good. I gave it 5 stars. Cool. I thought I gave it like 4, but 5. Yeah, I did really like it. And it's science fiction. It's kind of about this black girl who has like inexplicable powers. Like it's a science fiction trip, okay? So she has like inexplicable powers. They just call it like her gift. And then her brother ends up going to prison, and she has to like, she goes through like all this anger. She's like, I could burn down the whole world. That's how much power she has. She's like, I could fold this world in on top of itself, but my brother's rotting in a prison cell. And she's like, what? That don't sit right with me. She's like, what is that? And I just really love that idea of giving power to the disenfranchised and seeing how many ways like they have to deal with it. And the journey they feel emotionally going through that. Like it's such a cool concept, really, because like the girl who has the powers is Ella, and then her brother is Kev, and he's the one who ends up in prison. Yeah, and it's just so, it was good. It was really good. I highly recommend it. Riot Baby. It was amazing. I feel like I really just can't put into words how good it was. But also one of the things I really loved was his science fiction passages, like when he was describing Ella's powers. Like it just made no sense, but he described it with such authority. It was like, I buy it though. I buy it though. If you said she did, then she did that. You know, she pulled light out of thin air, and then she's like, I don't know what, she made it colder and hotter and stuff, but she was doing, they would describe things that it was like you had no idea what was going on, but it felt so real, because it's like, yeah, if I was there, I would be just as confused, because this girl was like, you know, she's otherworldly. Like, what the heck is she doing with all these powers? And it's never really explained. But I don't mind when things aren't explained like that, because sometimes like when the author chooses not to explain things, like you really just buy it, like, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, that's not part of the how isn't part of the story exactly. Okay, it's everything after that. And I'm just like, yeah, I buy it. I buy it. I respect you. I respect you. You can withhold the truth. That's fine with me. You know, that's how I felt. But anyway, it was really good. And I'm gonna read the review I left for it, because I mean, that's kind of, I think my review says more than I could, really. But anyway, so this book has left me at a loss for words, but I'll try to articulate what it means to me. I love the mind-bending science fiction of this book, the utter strangeness of Ella's power that seemingly makes no sense, but Onyebuchi describes it with such authority you have no choice but to believe. And I love the depiction of black anger and the struggle between Kev and Ella in fighting it or using it to force change, since the latter is well within her power to do so. Like, Ella really could just, she's like, I could make this world burn, baby. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know the self-control I have to have. Okay? Like, and also her hair goes like fully gray from her powers at one point, and there's a scene where there's another school, this is like a spoiler, but at the same, it's such a cool moment. Like, it won't ruin the book for you or anything, but like, she was like, there's another not a school shooting, there's another shooting of an unarmed black man on the television, and she just gets so angry that her hair turns like all gray, like in an instant, and then she just disappears. Like, she just poofs out of existence. Well, like, she poofs out of like the living room, and Kev is watching her, and she just disappears right before his eyes and stuff. And then she like leaves for a while and like practices her powers, harnesses her powers and stuff, and kind of like learns to control herself a little better. But she doesn't talk to Kev for years, you know, until he's in prison, and she comes and visits him then. But yeah, it was just, I love that scene. I love that scene. I was like, that's amazing. Really sad. It's not amazing, but like, I like the creativity that goes into it. And I also like that he really did, Onyebuchi, oh my goodness, I feel it, like the tears are coming, but like, God, anyway, I'm not gonna cry. But Onyebuchi, he was talking about like, he actually talked about a lot of the black people who have lost their lives to police, and you know, it was just really sad, but I like that aspect. I like that they were honored in a way in this book. It's just so sad. Like, of course I wish that, I didn't know any of their names. You didn't know any of the names who were killed, because I wish they were just another life going on, But anyway, I really like this book, but I'm going to continue reading this review. So, it just makes me think that as a people, African Americans are truly astounding for not being as angry as you could be, despite being constantly accosted by privileged white women, Karens, slain by those ordered to protect and deny justice after the fact. All this is endured, yet Black people do not become mass shooters, tormentors, bitter, angry people. And we are known for our joy, and the story of insurmountable power in the hands of a Black woman and what she would do with it only makes me appreciate the reality of my people more. And it's like legit, we really are a happy people. Like, Black people are always laughing, we're joking, we're funny, we're hilarious and stuff. But when you think about all the things that we've been through, and then we continue to endure in this time, we have to fight tooth and nail for respect, to some people, not everyone, but some. And it's when you think about all the things that we've gone through and continue to go through, it's why aren't you mad? How are you not angry and just bitter and jaded with the world and just hate everyone? But we don't, we aren't. Not everybody out here killmongers, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of T'Challas out here, just thriving. And I just really love that. That's really what this book made me appreciate, is that, that we aren't all burning up with anger inside. Because if we were, I really don't think we'd be able to enjoy, our life at all. I don't think we should be consumed by anger. Anger is a terrible thing to be consumed by. But yeah, I did like this book. It's a very thought-provoking book for being so short, and I really appreciated it. Though I would also read a full-length novel of this idea, and I think I don't know if he'll ever do that. I don't know. It probably won't, but I really feel there's a possibility that could happen. I mean, there's so much potential in this idea of just giving this insurmountable power in the arms or in the hands of a Black woman, someone who has potentially no power in the system in a way. That's an idea I would not let go. But anyway, yeah, so Riot Baby was the second book I read this month. 5 stars, really good, loved it. And let's see. My cat is grooming herself, but I heard something that I thought she was just peeing on my couch for no reason. My heart dropped. She's biting herself. That's what they do. That's what they do. It's the sounds, though, for me. It's the sounds. Anyway, I hope you can hear it because it's so awful. Third book I finished in August was Dune by Frank Herbert, and I picked it up just because I wanted to watch the movie with Timmy Chalamet and what's her, Zendaya. She literally has one name, and I swear I forget it every time. And I'm what is that? Zendaya, though. I wanted to watch that movie when it came out or whatever, and I was I'm gonna be hecka confused if I don't pick up the source material, so let me just do that. Mind you, I had no idea how big Dune was when I said this to myself, but homeboy clocks in at 687 pages with an index and everything, and I was just in agony. I was in agony. I am not a long book person. I'm really not. I get tired of stories very easily. So 687 is, it was difficult. It was difficult. Now I want to know when I started reading this, because I finished it August the 14th, okay? But yeah, I started reading this July. So it took me pretty much, well, I mean, it didn't take me a month, but it almost did. Okay, just a week shorter, of a month. So 3 weeks, I guess. I was reading it nonstop. I was really trying to I was plowing through this thing. I was really trying to. I was nah, we ain't gonna stop. We ain't gonna ask questions. We ain't gonna lose no momentum. I'ma just keep going. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I ended up giving it 3 stars, okay? And let me explain myself, because I know that it's a science fiction classic, and I read the afterword, really sweet afterword, by Frank Herbert's son, Brian Herbert, who continued the series of his father and everything. Their relationship is super cute. I would watch a documentary or a docu-series on their relationship between Frank Herbert and Brian Herbert, because it just seems, the love was there. I see it. But anyway, yeah, I gave it 3 stars, and mostly, and I talked about this like when I picked it up, is because I think science fiction has like plundered this novel in a way. I feel like they really ransacked this novel for everything that it had. And I mean, it makes sense because it's like one of the most, it's like the best-selling book out there. It returned to the New York Times bestseller list like multiple times, which is kind of unheard of, right? And it really put science fiction as a genre on the map. So it only makes sense that science fiction would therefore then look at it kind of as like, you know, well, let's just take all of the ideas from this book. And that's how it felt. Like I couldn't recognize, I understand that Dune is the original, that Dune started it all, but I just couldn't, I'm like, I feel like the media is so saturated with all of these tropes and all of these ideas, and it's because they've stolen it from Dune, but I still just can't look at it as like, oh, this is the OG though, you know. So that's why I gave it 3 stars. It didn't, I really sat there and was like, well, I don't think I loved it. I didn't love it. I liked it. I didn't dislike it, but it didn't like hit me very hard. I think if I had read this and nothing else, you know, I haven't been just overwhelmed with so much science fiction and like the media and like entertainment in general and all of these tropes before, I think I would have been like blown away by it. I understand, you know, hardcore fans of Dune, I get that. But since I have just been, it's like had all these tropes shoved down my throat before, I'm like, I really can't appreciate this the way I'm supposed to. But I gave it 3 stars. Yeah. In my review pretty much says the same thing. I'm not sure about this rating. It really has me on the fence. On one hand, I recognize the cultural significance of this book and all it did for science fiction as a genre, but on the other, it was a chore to get through. I don't know if I can honestly say I enjoyed it. If I did, my enjoyment was brief and sporadic. And let me tell you something. Okay, so Paul was fine. I liked Paul, okay? I liked Shawnee. One girl got on my nerves, and it was Jessica. And I think I also just have beef with the girls named Jessica because there was a trifling girl named Jessica that I met at the ripe old age of 2nd grade. Okay, she was a bum. She was a bum, and I hated her. I didn't hate her because that's too strong of an emotion, but I was like, I did not like that girl, and I think it ruined the name Jessica for me forever. So just Jessica, and Jessica is Paul's mother, and I did not like her, and unfortunately she had a lot of passages dedicated to her thoughts and what she's feeling and stuff, and I was like, Jessica, I don't care. I don't care. You could get eaten by a sandworm today and I would be fine, you know. That's how I felt. But yeah, anyway, so my enjoyment was brief and sporadic. Yeah, like it was just a lot of information. It was just information overload, bruh. And Frank would describe things and I was just like, Frank, what is this? What is going on? That makes me sound so stupid, but like, it was a chore to get through. It really did feel like reading for school again, and that's not a compliment. That's not a good thing. But anyway, and it seems like not all, but a lot of exciting moments were skipped over, with Herbert only showing you the aftermath, and that bothered me. Another major flaw to me was Paul's son, who we literally never meet, and then, this is a spoiler alert, is just killed off. And I'm like, what was the point of that? Why do that? Like, you don't even know him. You don't even care. We literally never meet Paul's son. And mind you, he's a teenage father as well, by the way, because Paul is like 17 at the most. Like, no. He's like 18, I guess. But he has a whole kid. And I'm like, Frank, first of all, Frank, why did he have to be, I understand, I guess, him being 15 at the start of all this, you know, because it's like, oh my god, all this pressure on his shoulders, and he's like a prodigy, it makes everything, you know, like more impressive about Paul being this, you know, fulfilling the prophecy at 15, right? But then it's like, he gets married and he has to take care of these other kids. And it was just, I was like, Frank, this is too much. This is all, you planned all of this for a 15-year-old boy. No. I'm not vibing with it, my guy. I can't get jiggy with this. I'm really struggling. I'm like, why was he 15 at the start of this? I was like, if he was 17, that would have been better for me, but whatever. It was just no. And then, like legit though, but they literally give him a son and they kill him off screen pretty much. Like, you just hear about it and Paul just knows, but you never meet the dude. You never meet his son. You never meet him. So the death means nothing. It's just like, okay, alright, sorry about that. I never met him though. So, and I'm like, did Paul even meet his son? Paul met his son like once, and then he was just off in the desert somewhere for the rest of the time. And I'm like, what was the point of that? Also, I was just surprised by how many people die in this book. Don't want to get attached to anyone. You don't get the chance to, but don't, because like just people dying left and right. But anyway, I was so surprised. But anyway, so as for the character of Chani, knowing she is played by Zendaya in the upcoming film adaptation / reboot, the entire reason I picked up this book, right, I already told you that, I was surprised by how submissive she was, okay? She's pretty much voluntarily subjected to Paul, which didn't bother me, but I feel for a fact will anger others if it's put on screen, and I'm curious if they will change the dynamic and her demeanor in the film. And I just don't see a woman that submissive being well accepted in the current social climate post-Me Too, but who knows, I'm just speculating. And I was right to speculate, because baby, let me tell you the tea. Oh, let me spill the tea. So, they have decided, I'm pretty sure like the director is like, in the second, the first movie is just adapting the first half of the book, right? Because it's freaking huge. So it's only doing the first part. And then he said in the second part, Chani is actually going to kind of replace, well, not Chani, but Zendaya is going to replace Tim as like the lead role. Like, they're going to have her take a more important role in the second half because they said she was like really important in the book. And I'm like, she was. And they also said she's a strong female character being played by a strong female actress. And I was like, that made me mad because it kind of made me feel like I read wrong. Like, I'm like, I feel like you're calling me a bad reader, son. I feel like you calling out my reading skills and my reading comprehension right now, and I'm not feeling it. Because the way that she was portrayed, like, she was not portrayed as where like strength would be her dominant quality. Like, I know she is a strong female character. I'm not saying she's not, but I disagree that she was portrayed that way, in which it's like so obvious, and that would be the main thing you take away from Chani, because I don't think Frank wrote her that way at all. I'm just like, I don't think she was characterized like that. And it's like, for y'all to say that though, feels like an Elastigirl Space Jam reach. You know what I'm saying? Like, you reaching big, homie. You reaching big. Know your arms tired, cause you reaching. You know, that's how it feels to me. But whatever. Yeah, so after writing it out, I think I stand behind those 3 stars, but my rating is also attributed to how overdone the tropes from Dune are now in science fiction and entertainment in general, like I already said. And I know it is the original, but I just can't seem to see it as such, and I'm not interested enough to continue the series. Who knows? I might get bored later on this year and just pick up Dune Messiah. We don't know though. I'm not really looking forward to it. I legit wasn't invested, but after 687 pages, for you to not be invested feels like a crime. You know, I'm like, I read so much, but somehow didn't touch me. You know, didn't touch me here. Didn't touch me here. Anyway, and I'm also reading like Island Queen, which I think I will finish in August, but like, it's a big book too. Not as big, but wait, how much? I can look up the word count, cause I live in 2021 with this information readily available. So it's 592 pages. Dope, right? It's huge, and it's like a historical fiction about Dorothy Caron Thomas, a free woman of color who's rose from slavery to become one of the wealthiest and most powerful landowners in the colonial West Indies. Not gonna lie though, spoiler alert, it's more like a romance. Heavy on the romance, bruh. Really heavy. I thought it would be a lot more like, you know, boss moves, business deals, whole lot of kissing, whole lot of romance, whole lot of children too, whole lot of kids. Talking a whole Wu-Tang Clan here. Whole lot of kids. Which is, I'm like, fine. And I think she has a whole bunch of references in the back. Like, you know, Vanessa Riley did her research. So I'm like, if this is true, then I mean, I don't know what to say. I guess it couldn't have been avoided. Like, yeah, she has a bibliography, and there's like so many different references. But now that I'm reading some of them, it seems like a lot might not have been actually in reference to Dorothy Caron herself. It looks like it was more just like in periods with the time period. So maybe, you know, now I'm just like, I feel like I have to read an actual book about Dorothy Caron Thomas to like know what her real story was, because I feel like it was very much just like romanticized in this. And also, I am hitting a real snag with this book as well. Like it's slowed down to like a crawl. Like I am struggling right now. I am real struggling. But I will finish this book in August. I swear I will. And then that will bring me up to what? Four books in August, which feels just a bit small. I'm just like, that feels awful. Like I'm like, you did a terrible job. Terrible. But I read books, so who cares? Who knows why? But I mean, I did. It's been a good week. It's been a good week. It's been a good month. Just a little slow. Anyway, so that's the end of my monthly wrap up somehow. Like, I only read 4 books, but you know how long I've been talking. It's a talent, what can I say? Yeah, so now we're gonna talk about my art.
Yeah, so this week I did exactly what I said I was gonna do and just drew from reference. Practiced my skills, I guess. My favorite, and I added marker just like for a pop of color in there, so it's not all gray, and I just like doing that. It's a cool thing. And let's see, my favorite page, I'm not gonna lie, is gonna be the one on the right with the blue connecting all of them. The other one seems kind of disjointed to me, but I still like the faces on there. And I just drew from reference photos. I pinned, I have a Pinterest board for like drawing for reference and all of that, so I'm gonna put those up now. Yeah, so those are the references, and then we're gonna flash back to what I drew. So not like perfect or anything, but you know, yeah, I feel like if you don't draw for reference, it's just kind of a skill that you could lose. So I have to do that every once in a while. And I just added 2 pretty pages to my sketchbook, so I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, hope you like it too. But yeah, not too much this week, but it was really fun. I like doing it though, so.
Thank you for tuning in for another Reading Wednesday. Come back, join me again, you know, sketchbook and book books. It'd be popping over here, I'd like to say. But yeah, go read a book, have some thoughtsy watsies, drink a beverage, I don't know. Bye.